close the door for me? Okay, sorry.
It's Monday night. The Sports Hounds are live exclusively on a2dradio.com. As always, we are live on Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. If you miss anything here on A2D Radio, download its podcast form, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spreaker, Spotify, Google Play. A2D Radio is everywhere. The takeover is real. Shout out to our great sponsors over at Specialized Physical Therapy, Dr. Paul Vidal. He's our doc. Make him yours, too. 3 convenient locations, Burlington, Cherry Hill, and Princeton, New Jersey. Like I said, he's A2D Radio's doc. Make him yours, too. Also, check out our gutter guys at Ambuck Services. They are the gutter and deck experts of South Jersey. Give them a call at 856-879-5530. Tell them A2D Radio sent you. Get that friends and family discount. Each and every week, our poll questions brought to you by PhillyDrinkers.com. Holiday season, holiday buying time is here. Get your friends and family some nifty A2D garb at PhillyDrinkers.com. Click on the A2D Radio collection. Sunglasses, blankets, ugly Christmas sweaters. They have absolutely everything you need to represent A2D Radio to round out 2020 and take you into 2021. Brad Ryer's in the house. I'm Rob Brinkman. Frank Vesby is producing the show. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We have 2 Monday Night Football games that we can live react to. The Steelers are leading the Washington football team 14-10. About 4 minutes left in the third quarter here. Washington's been playing well in the second half. Very stagnant first half by the Washington football team. They've come out with their hair on fire here in the second half. We have the Bills and the Niners at 8:15, the traditional Monday Night Football slot. That should be an interesting game, Brad. The Niners are on.
That's a game for both the Niners and the Bills.
The Niners are on fire. The Niners are healthy outside of Jimmy Garoppolo. The Bills have been pretty consistent all year with Josh Allen, that defense, and Stephon Diggs has been a great addition. So that should be a fun
trying
game.
To hold off the Miami Dolphins, who are making a big run at the playoffs right now.
And then tomorrow we have a football game as well. Tuesday Night Football. The Baltimore Ravens are going to play the Dallas Cowboys. We'll preview that a little later in the show. We have a football-oriented show. Basketball's right around the corner. We're going to get into basketball. The Knicks, the Sixers. The Sixers. James Harden's holding out. He's not happy. Russell Westbrook got traded this week. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in sports. But let's dive into our poll question. Obviously, the Eagles, yet another defeat to the Green Bay Packers. They lose the game 30-16. They looked awful in doing so. Carson Wentz was finally benched, held accountable for his dreadful play. And Jalen Hurts, Brad, he didn't look half bad. I guess the QB factor, maybe churning out some winners here. I don't know, but that's our poll question brought to you by Philly Drinkers. Should Jalen Hurts start next week in the Superdome against the almighty, unbeatable, what seems to be the favorites?
Are they playing in Philly next week? I thought they were playing in Philly.
No, that game is in New Orleans, I believe.
Oh, jeez. That's a shame.
Unless I'm mistaken. I could be mistaken.
I thought that they
I'll look it up. But they're playing the Saints next week. And whether it's in New Orleans or Philadelphia.
The Eagles have their hands full with that team.
It's going to be a tall task. So, Brad, I'm going to throw it to you. And we are going to talk about your Giants in the NFC East and the playoff picture. Giants obviously get a huge win. But we're talking about Jalen Hurts right now. Should the Eagles take the plunge with Jalen Hurts next week against New Orleans Saints? Should he start, Brad?
Well, you know what? You asked me before, and I've been thinking about it while you were doing the advertising. You know what? Yeah, I think they should start him. And there's 2 reasons for it. Number one, he did give them a little bit of a boost last week. And number 2, well, actually 3 reasons. Number 2, you have to have this game. And you know what? Maybe he can surprise them. The Eagles, if they want to stay competitive in this division and still have a shot, they have to win this game. I mean, you can say how bad the NFC East is until you're blue in the face, but you know what? The NFC East is improving. The New York Giants have improved drastically. If you're watching this football game right now between the Washington football team and the Pittsburgh Steelers, you can see that the Washington football team has taken big-time strides this year. They are definitely an improved team. They may not have the records to show that. I think if there was a preseason and these teams got to have preseason, I think their records would be a lot better at this point. So I think both these teams are pretty young, and both these teams have gotten better. And, for the Redskins, football team, whatever, Alex Smith being the quarterback right now really does make a difference. I mean, he's huge. But as far as getting back to Hurts, the third reason they should play him is because they really have to find out if Hurts can be a leader of men and be a quarterback, because they're kind of, as you said, they're stuck with Carson Wentz next year because of the cap hit. And you know what? They can't cut him, so he's going to have to be there. They need to see if Hurts can play, because if Hurts is a player, you know what, then you let him play next year. And you know what? Wentz becomes the backup. It's unfortunate because you signed him to all that money, but that's what's going to have to happen. Now, Doug Peterson has to go. I mean, there's no question about that. His play calling and everything else is horrible. I mean, to me, Doug Peterson is definitely partially responsible for Wentz falling off the cliff. I mean, and make no mistakes, this is falling off a cliff with him. I mean, he was this far away from being the MVP in 2017. That's how good this guy was. And last year, with no weapons to mention and a very questionable offensive line, he held that team together and willed that team to the playoffs, because they really weren't all that good last year either. Okay? This year, for whatever reason, he's holding the ball too long, blah, blah, blah. You know what? Peterson has to coach him. He's not coaching him. And part of coaching is developing, and when a guy goes in a slump, you got to get there. If Carson Wentz was the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers or the New Orleans Saints, okay? Do you think that either one of those coaches would coach him up and have him playing better? Because I do.
I mean, look,
if Wentz got released at the end of the season, okay, and this is hypothetical, they probably won't do it. But if you're San Francisco, would you bring him in if he got released? To compete with Garoppolo, or if you're New Orleans and Breeze retires? I mean, do you really want to continue to go with Taysom Hill, or do you want to have Wentz and use Taysom Hill as your spark plug quarterback? I mean, I think Hill, although he's done a pretty good job, I don't know that he's necessarily a starting quarterback in this league. I mean, he was pretty good last week against the Falcons, but the Falcons' defense, we know that.
I hear you, and I definitely, first off, to the poll, I 100,000% agree to the poll. Jalen Hurts should be under center. He should get the full game, and Wentz should hold a clipboard for a week. Maybe he needs that. Now, people are saying he's a $100 million quarterback. You can't bench him. The Eagles have 0% chance to win that game against New Orleans this next week with Carson Wentz as the quarterback. I'm 10,000% convinced of it. The guy is broken, and if you want to say Peterson's got to go. I mean, I don't think he's had a great year, but I mean,
let's be honest. His play calling's terrible. The defense looks terrible. I mean, really,
he's calling the plays when Hurts went in there and threw a touchdown pass on 4th and 18.
I understand.
Hurts is throwing to open guys on the Doug Peterson play call.
The Packers kind of took their foot off the gas, though.
That's not Jalen Hurts' fault, nor is it the Eagles' fault. That's their own fault.
But what I'm saying about, I understand what you're saying about Hurts. Okay, I do. I'm just saying, when you bring a guy into a game and it's a slaughter, okay, and then he picks up some passing yards and completes some passes, is that really indicative of his performance, or is it more or less kind of a controlled performance because, they're playing it back a little bit? They're playing
Be that as it may, Brad, the Eagles were down 23-16, a one-possession game with 5 minutes to go in the football game.
That's true, but
that would have never happened with Carson Wentz in the game.
But
there's no doubt about it. No, because there's no doubt about it, Brad. And you can't. I think I still maintain that there's a good quarterback within Carson Wentz, Brad. And if that's
but I think
if the scenario comes to fruition where he's not here and he goes to Indianapolis or San Francisco or fill in the blank to whatever football team you want, Carson Wentz will flourish.
I agree.
He's never gonna flourish here in Philadelphia again. Between getting hurt and getting cheated out of his MVP award and a Super Bowl championship, between coming back too soon from his ACL and injuring his back, and then Nick Foles takes the reins again and catches lightning in a bottle almost again, only to have Alshon Jeffrey drop the ball in New Orleans. Alshon Jeffrey doesn't drop that ball. Eagles might go back-to-back, Brad, in 2017 and 2018. And then
maybe
he gets the quarterback. I know it's hypothetical, but then he gets the contract, and they get rid of all these locker room leaders, all this locker room leadership, and say, "All right, Carson, here's your $100 million contract. It's your team. Go beat 2017 Carson. Take us to a championship. Get your rock. Get your ring." Then they totally negate that and pick Jalen Hurts in the second round. Now, I don't care if Jalen Hurts comes out and he's the next Russell Wilson, and I look like the biggest I look like the biggest stew nod ever for criticizing that pick. I don't care. I don't care if he becomes Russell Wilson. I don't care if he goes to the Hall of Fame. Picking Jalen Hurts in the second round like that was not the right thing to do. It was a horrible draft pick.
Yeah, no,
I can't deny.
I think you messed with Carson's head doing that.
So now I thought it was supposed to be my team. I got this guy, second round pick. Second round picks start and contribute right away on good teams, on teams that know what they're doing, drafting. It's just the way it is. You can't just throw away a second round pick like they did. Now he's playing poorly. His psyche is broken. Hurts goes in. Brad, it's week 13. I have not seen an Eagles sequence as successful as I've saw when Jalen Hurts took over the reins as starting quarterback yesterday in Green Bay. It sparked not only the offense, but the defense and the special teams as well. Because his first drive, he throws a touchdown pass to Greg Ward. A beautiful ball, by the way, to a wide-open Greg Ward. Why Carson can't seem to find these wide-open receivers, I don't know. Why Carson Wentz doesn't get outside the pocket, but Jalen Hurts is getting outside the pocket, I don't know. That leads to my opinion that Carson Wentz maybe needs to sit for a game. Maybe he needs to sit for the rest of the season. I don't know.
I think the number two is the better. I think Wentz needs to. When Wentz is right, that he's a really good quarterback. Let's be honest. But right now, there is something wrong with Wentz, whether it's physical or psychological, whatever the case may be. There is something wrong with him, and Doug needs to fix it. Now, if Doug is going to stay and they don't fire him, Doug needs to coach this guy up, and Doug needs to get him back in shape, coach him back up into shape again. And the other thing the Eagles need is this offensive line, which really, I understand a lot of guys are hurt, but you know what? Again, you and I went back and forth on this in the beginning of the season. Some of these guys are getting a little long in the tooth. I know that you're going to tell me 29 to 30 isn't necessarily that old for a football player, but for offensive linemen and defensive linemen, you know what? Unless they're top of the line type players, it is kind of old for some of them. And they're not in their primes anymore. And, they're going to get beat and they're going to get hurt. And this is kind of what's been happening with the Eagles lately. And as far as Jalen Reagor, we don't really know because Carson Wentz has been so bad. We don't really know what we have with him. And that's a problem. You don't really know what you have with him. Let's put Hurts out there. Let's see what happens. You know what? What's the difference at this point? You're 3-8-1. Okay, you're not going to make the playoffs. It's not going to happen. Your schedule is too tough. Okay, you still have New Orleans. You're going to be playing Arizona, and you're going to be playing Washington and Dallas. And I'll tell you what, watching the way Washington is giving Pittsburgh all kinds of trouble, I don't know how the hell you're going to beat Washington, and they smoked you last time as well.
They're not.
Yeah, and I mean,
Not.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. What's the difference? Let's see what you have with Jalen Hurts. Maybe Jalen Hurts is the next Russell Wilson. Maybe he's the best next Baker Mayfield. Who knows?
All I'm saying, I've watched this this awful football team. It's been like watching paint dry. It's been pathetic. It's been awful. It's been a complete waste of my time.
It's been all
the three drives that I saw Jalen Hurts play: touchdown pass, 3 and out, punt return touchdown. So not only did Jalen Hurts spark this offense, he sparked the defense and the special teams. That's the definition of putting a guy in for a spark and it coming to fruition. Why not start him next week? You're not going to win that football game next week with Carson Wentz. Sorry. And I know there's people in the chat say, watch the film, they played soft, this, that, and the other against Jalen Hurts. I don't care. My defense, my special teams, and my offense had juice for the first time in 13 weeks with Jalen Hurts as the quarterback, QB1 of this football team. That can't be disputed. It can't be disputed.
I would agree. I mean, look, as I said, at this point, you have nothing to lose. And you know what? At this point, you do need to see what you've got with Jalen Hurts. You may have a gem. You may have a gem back there. Who the heck knows? I mean, you just don't.
Why if you start Jalen Hurts and it's not going well, he throws a couple picks, you get down by a huge amount of points, you can go back to Carson. You can. Just because you bench Carson in Green Bay doesn't mean, and you start Hurts against the Saints, doesn't mean you can't go back to Carson. Carson's going to be here. Carson's not going anywhere. If Carson Wentz is not on the Eagles in 2021, it's nearly a $60 million dead cap hit. If he is not on the team in 2022, it is a near $35 million cap hit. That's if you trade him. That's if you cut him. He's on the books. It's dead cap. Meaning you can't use that money to make your team better. Carson Wentz is going to be here. Jalen Hurts is going to be here on his rookie contract.
Then you have to. There's one or two things you have to do. Okay, either Doug Peterson needs to coach him up, or you got to get rid of Doug Peterson.
Doug Peterson's not going anywhere.
Well,
Doug Peterson's not going anywhere. Doug Peterson shouldn't go anywhere. Doug Peterson earned the right to be the coach next year of this football team by winning the Super Bowl and going to the playoffs each of the last 2 seasons. And I'm no Doug apologist. He makes me mad as hell with his 2-point tries and his goofy press conferences. I'm at my wit's end with the guy, but he should not be fired. Now, if Lurie goes berserk and just chops everybody's heads off after the season, I'm not going to shed a tear over him. I'll tip my cap to him, say thanks for the Super Bowl, but you got to go. But if I'm the owner,
Coughlin won 2 Super Bowls with the Giants, and they ended up having to fire him too. That's
apples and oranges, Brad. That's apples and oranges. The Giants were done. He milked the last he could out of those veterans, and then those veterans fell off a cliff, and the Giants started to suck, and Jerry Reese didn't do anything to help Tom Coughlin out. And you go 4-12 enough in this league. I don't care who you are. If you're Bill Belichick, you're Vince Lombardi, you go 4-12, 5-11 back-to-back years, you're getting canned. That's just the way the NFL works. Look at Ron Rivera. He's a tremendous football coach. Couple of bad seasons down there in Carolina, you're getting fired. And the Redskins now have, the football team now has a great coach in Ron Rivera. But my point being, starting Jalen Hurts in New Orleans next Sunday does not mean that you can't go back to Carson Wentz during the New Orleans game, the next week for the Arizona game, against the Cowboys or against the Redskins. It doesn't. Carson's going to be here. And if Carson's too soft and his feelings are going to get hurt from getting benched, and then he's really going to be a problem mentally, then he's not the player we thought he was. But
listen, as I said, Rob, I think 90% of it is on Carson, but I'm going to put 10% of the blame on Peterson. He's got.
Oh, he gets way more than 10% of the blame, Brad.
No, I'm talking about Carson's fault. A lot of this, I think, is on Peterson. Your coach has to coach you up. I mean, that's.
I understand. I agree with you. All I said was I don't think Doug Peterson should get fired after the season. Jim Schwartz, defensive coordinator, Howie Roseman, GM, all these trash players that are just not doing their job, they can all go. I'm keeping Doug. Now, if you have a disaster like this again next season, then it's sayonara.
If you fire Roseman, do you not have to let the new GM pick his own coach?
No.
Just saying. I mean,
Jeffrey Lurie signs Doug Peterson's check.
I understand that, but I'm just most of the time when you change general managers, you let the general manager.
To me, a general manager should be a chameleon. He should morph to his surroundings. Doug Peterson should be forced to put together a better coaching staff. The fact that the Eagles have no offensive coordinator is a complete joke. And that goes to your point in coaching up Carson Wentz. Even though it looks like Jalen Hurts is getting coached up fine every time he trots off the field, every time he comes over the sidelines, he's got 4 iPads in his face, 8 coaches surrounding him, handing him things of Gatorade. Carson goes and sits by himself on the iPad, at most one coach with him. I don't know what's going on. Maybe the players don't like Carson Wentz. I don't know. I don't know what he's like behind the scenes.
So we wouldn't really know that.
But I mean, and me saying like I'm catching a lot of heat because after the Seattle game, maybe before the Seattle game, I put a Facebook post up doing a comparison between Tom Brady and Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is broken. Tom Brady's old and washed. If Tom Brady were the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles right now, the Eagles wouldn't have a win. I firmly believe that. And if Carson Wentz were on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Buccaneers would have the same record. It'd still be an excellent football team.
Most likely. I would agree.
Tom Brady's deficiencies are covered up because he has a better offensive line than Carson Wentz has. He
has a wealth of great receivers.
Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Gronkowski, Cameron Brate. They get 2 pretty good running backs.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
Fournette. And then if for whatever reason, Brad, their offense doesn't work, their defense is spectacular.
That's correct, with the exception of one game.
And that goes to your point that if Carson Wentz were to leave the nest of the Eagles, he'd flourish.
I would agree.
I think Indianapolis seems to be like the hot pick. What if you went to Indianapolis back with Frank Reich? They have a good defense. They have a good O-line. They have Michael Pittman and T.Y. Hilton. Pretty good receivers. Trey Burton, who won a Super Bowl here in 2017. Carson Wentz would flourish on the Indianapolis Colts. I don't know if he's ever going to flourish here again. I really don't. And that's why I think you got to see what's going on with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah,
that's why he should start.
I think he should play, and I think he should play the rest of the season. You have to see what you have in Jalen Hurts before you make a decision what you want to do about Carson Wentz. I mean,
what I don't understand with Carson Wentz is why he allows himself to be engulfed by his offensive line and the opposing pass rushers in the pocket on damn near every 3-step drop. He doesn't have the awareness, or he's not showing the awareness that he showed in 2017 that made him a superior playmaker and damn near the MVP of the league.
Why is he not getting rid of the ball quicker?
Brad, I don't know. I don't know. Some of them.
You watch Ben Roethlisberger, okay? I mean, Ben Roethlisberger hasn't exactly demonstrated to me that he has a wealth of arm strength left, okay? But when he passes the ball now, he's 2 steps, bang, the ball's out of there. I mean, everything with him is, 1 step, 2 step, bang, the ball's out of there, and that's it. And he's not looking down the field, trying to figure out exactly where to go with the ball. But I don't know. Maybe the Eagles receivers aren't getting open. Maybe
I
the
think that's
is not getting the job done. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that the running backs don't catch the ball, and that's a problem.
well, I'm about to smoke. I'm about to absolutely smoke Miles Sanders in a few minutes here. But to your point about getting the ball out, I think he's having issues. I don't know if he doesn't trust his receivers, but he's got to get over the fact that his receivers suck. He's got to get over the fact he doesn't have a go-to guy. He doesn't have a Hopkins. He doesn't have a Devontae Adams.
Rob, look at Alex Smith, okay? And I've been watching Alex Smith today, okay? Other than McLaren, who's kind of been pretty quiet this game, I mean, he'll get rid of that football very quickly, and if he holds the ball, he's trying to throw the ball deep. But I mean, you don't see him doing that. He's trying to get rid of the ball quickly, and they don't. And you know what? They don't have good receivers at all. The Washington football team. They have basically one guy who can catch the ball, and that's pretty much it. I mean, the other guys just drop the ball all the time, especially in the first half.
They don't have good receivers.
No.
And I've been crushing first round pick Jalen Reagor on a regular basis on Facebook. Now he made me look kind of stupid because he took a punt return to the house, which is why he should have been returning punts the whole fucking season when he's been healthy. Not Greg Ward, not Boston Scott, not any of these scrubs that we have at the bottom of their roster who wouldn't even sniff even a practice squad on a good football team. But Jalen Reagor, he gets a chance to be a punt returner and do something that he was drafted to do, something he's been good at probably since high school, certainly was phenomenal at it at TCU, and he takes it to the house, further sparking this football team, bring them within one score. Now, I need to see more from Jalen Reagor from a receiver standpoint because I think he's been struggling to get off the line. He's looked weak. I don't know. But, I mean, it's disappointing that we have this first-round receiver and a second-round receiver in J.J. Arcega-Whiteside that was a healthy scratch when pretty much every first, second, and third-round receiver picked over the last 3 years is a hit. Michael Pittman, Indianapolis, hit. Justin Jefferson, Minnesota, rookie, second in the league in receiving yards. DK Metcalf, second-round pick a year ago. He is first in the league in receiving yards. A.J. Brown in Tennessee. I mean, T. Higgins has shown signs of being a productive NFL wide receiver. Brandon Ayuk.
I like T. Higgins.
Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel out in San Francisco. Like, the list goes on and on. You could have any of these guys, but the talent evaluation it's just not there. And I see Jalen Reagor being hurt, being unproductive, and I just roll my eyes. And J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, even on a team that has trash skill players, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside is a healthy scratch. That's embarrassing.
That was just a bad pick. I mean, that's he's the cross to bear right now for Howie Roseman.
But the chickens are coming home to roost in terms of all these bad draft picks, Brad.
Yeah, but why? Here's one for you. Why is Nelson Aguilar, now that he's with the Raiders, why is he suddenly a pretty good receiver again?
He's not a pretty good receiver.
Oh, he's been pretty good for them.
He's okay. He catches the ball when they throw it to him, which he didn't do here. But I don't know how many more chances that the fan base and Howie and Doug were supposed to give Nelson Aguilar. Nelson Aguilar, it wasn't happening for him here.
Why is he successful in Oakland with Derek Carr, who isn't exactly, the last time I looked, he's not exactly Johnny Unitas.
No, Derek Carr stinks. I hate Derek Carr.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I mean, something right now is wrong with the Eagles. There is a significant issue right now with that team. I don't know exactly what it is, but there is something significantly wrong. And I'll tell you what, the Washington football team now looks like they're going to tie up this game.
They're on the move. I posted on Facebook that this morning, drinking my coffee, maybe last night, that after this game, the Pittsburgh Steelers would be 11-1.
Well, I still don't think that's going to happen. However, if the Giants can win in Seattle,
it's wide open to Logan Thomas. That's an extra point away. Extra point away from a tie football game here in Pittsburgh. And Brad, the Washington football team, they really need this game because your Giants pulled the stunner of the week, beating Seattle in Seattle with Colt McCoy. And Brad, I got to tell you, you guys get on Dave Gettleman a lot, and I think it's unwarranted because he can't sign free agents. I'll give you that. But
now, he did a pretty good job. He did a pretty good job signing free agents this year.
The Giants have a Super Bowl caliber championship defense.
They do now. They're pretty much right. They're pretty much right there with a lot of these teams. You take a look. Leonard Williams right now is just playing superb football, and the Washington football team has now tied the Pittsburgh Steelers. So
that must be nice. That must be nice to have a kicker who can make an extra point. Jake Elliott can't, and he makes $8 million a year. As Howie Roseman, or idiot GM, extends a kicker 3 years, $21 million. A kicker who's not Justin Tucker. You give $7 million, $8 million a year. I don't understand, but go ahead, Brad. Sing your Giants praises because it was an impressive win yesterday.
Oh, it was an impressive win. What's more impressive is the fact that Colt McCoy was the quarterback, and they still found a way to win. And the running game was good. I mean, they did the ground and pound thing. They definitely wore down Seattle's defense. In the third quarter, the offense was running the ball right down their throats. But the defense, I mean, honestly, the way they played defensively, it was almost like they were daring Russell Wilson to try to run. And Russell Wilson just couldn't do it. And Metcalf was stopped pretty much in his tracks by James Bradbury. I mean, this crap when he started trying to pretend he's the Incredible Hulk after he stiff-armed Bradbury. Hey, DK, you were tackled right away. I mean, yeah, you had your hands in his face, but he still tackled you. So I don't get what the hell was that? You think you're Hulk Hogan or something? You got tackled, my friend, and guess what? You didn't do shit against the Giants yesterday. Just understand that.
Bottled up.
And the bottom line is, I think that the Giants showed the NFL how to beat the Seattle Seahawks, and that the NFL should take notice on how they did it, because they didn't rush Russell Wilson the way a lot of teams do. They kind of went in gradually and just made sure and took the pocket and took the outlets for him to run away. And then, being the little guy that he is, grabbing him and throwing him down was really not a big problem. And at this point, the Giants defensively are playing at a very high level. I'm really not afraid of them going against Arizona next week in Giant Stadium. Now, if they had to go out there, it'd be a little different story. But in Giant Stadium with the winds and everything, I don't know if Jones is going to be able to play, but you know what? I think they can beat the Cardinals at home next week in Giant Stadium against the Cardinals. Why not? The Cardinals are 6-6 now. They haven't really shown all that much in the second half of the season.
No, and I agree with you because they are a one-dimensional offense. They have Kenyon Drake. All due respect to Kenyon Drake and Chase Edmonds, that's not a running tack. I'd be afraid of if I were the New York Giants.
But they have a guy who can basically keep their best player in check. I mean, Bradbury is a shutdown corner. I mean, the Giants paid him to be a shutdown corner. A lot of us were laughing, saying, "How could you pay that guy $15?"
I wasn't laughing. I wasn't laughing at all.
A lot of us thought that that was way too much money for him. But you know what? He's been worth every dime. And Blake Martinez has been very good. Now, he got hurt at the end of the game. He messed up his back, but from what I'm understanding, he's okay and he should be ready to play next Sunday against the Cardinals. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. As far as Washington is concerned, this is a must-win game for them. I mean, they can't fall behind the Giants as far as the record is concerned, because the Giants have the advantage as far as the tiebreaker, because the Giants beat them twice.
Season sweep, yeah.
Yeah, so that's something, and that comes first. That comes before conference record, and that comes before everything else. And even if the football team wins this game, it's still a AFC win. It's not an NFC win. So the Giants will also have a better conference record as well. So
I want to get to the Giants running game because the Giants have had an emerging running back in Wayne Gallman. And I love Wayne Gallman. Not that he's the best running back in the league because he's not. He's
no. He's a north-south runner.
Correct. Correct. He's a north-south runner. You want to know who's not a north-south runner, Brad? Miles Sanders. Brad, I hate this guy more and more every week. And everybody wants and I'm so sick and tired of everyone bitching and moaning that Miles Sanders needs to get the ball more. No, he does not. He dances around in the hole. He runs east-west when he should be putting his foot in the ground and running north-south. Not to mention the stones he has at the end of his wrists where his hands are supposed to be. I mean, Brad, he was wide open in the flat yesterday. I thought Lee Harvey Oswald sniped him from the book depository from Dallas, Texas, because he just fell over and the ball fell right in front of him. What are we doing, Miles?
You know what?
And if one more person, Brad, brings up to me his yards per carry, I'm going to throw up and smack him right in the face. Because the reason, Brad, he has such a high yards per carry is because he only gets 10 carries a game, and he's athletic enough to bust one of them for 70 yards, which he's done a couple times. That's why he has a yards per carry through the roof, not because he's a good running back. Everyone wants to make fun of Jordan Howard because he was on the practice squad last week and it didn't work out for him in Miami. Guess what? Jordan Howard's a good running back. You want to know why Jordan Howard's a good running back? Because he puts his foot in the ground. He goes north-south, not east-west. And if you're going to tackle him, you better be prepared to take a hit because Jordan Howard's going to lower his shoulder and try to hurt you and run through you.
Same way
Miles Sanders.
Same way LeGarrette Blount did for the Eagles when he played with them the year they won the Super Bowl.
I'm so sick of Miles Sanders. Brad, there was a sequence. There was a sequence yesterday, Brad. It was 3rd and I think 19 from just inside, right around midfield, maybe a little before midfield, maybe a little after. I don't quite recall. But it's 3rd and 18. Doug called a draw, which is drawing a lot of criticism. I thought it was actually a good play call because they had the Packers defense caught with their pants down. But instead, Miles Sanders wanted to dip around, try and juke and spin move and this, that, and the other instead of getting upfield because, Brad, it was a play call designed. He made the play call because he was going to go for it on 4th down. And if Miles Sanders got 10, 11 yards like he should have, if he put his foot in the ground and ran north-south for one goddamn time in his life, they would have got 12 yards on that play. It would have been 4th and 8, and Doug Peterson would have went for it because Doug Peterson always goes for it. And they're down 2 scores, so why not go for it? But instead, he gets 4 or 5 yards. It's 4th and 16, 4th and 15, 4th and 14, whatever the heck it was, and Doug Peterson decided to punt. I thought Doug made an error because I thought Doug still should have gone for it. But the point is, Miles Sanders hasn't done anything in this league for Eagles fans to be bitching and moaning about his playing time, his touches. Because guess what? Miles Sanders doesn't do enough with the touches he gets to warrant more.
He's very one-dimensional. And the problem
he fumbles the football. He drops the football. He can't pick up blitzes. The guy's not very good. The guy's nowhere close to a top 10 running back. I don't know if Miles Sanders is a top 20 running back.
The problem with him is that he's trying to score a touchdown on every play instead of just taking what the defense gives you and then getting down and not fumbling the ball. I mean, sometimes you got to do that. I mean, a lot of these guys learn. Wayne Gallman this year has learned that if it's not there, just get as much as you can. And then when you realize you're going to get tackled, get down and cover up the ball and don't fumble. And he's been a revelation for them.
If it's 1st and 10 and you get 4 yards with a first down run because you stick your foot in the ground, if Miles Sanders puts his foot in the ground and just runs straight, he's going to get 4 yards if there's even an inkling of a hole because he's that explosive. I've seen it. But instead he thinks he's Le'Veon Bell out there and wants to wait and juke around and not hit the hole and not run north-south. wants to run east-west, then he gets nothing.
Again,
if it's second and 4, Brad, you're ahead of the sticks. You're ahead of the sticks.
This is coaching, and I'm trying to tell you that you have a coaching problem right now.
Okay, and that's another thing that I hate because I'm a big accountability guy. At what point is it on the players to put into practice what the coaches are telling them all week? Like, do you think Doug Peterson's really telling Carson, yo, hold the ball and let the whole pocket collapse on you and take a sack? You think that's what he's telling them all week?
No.
Okay, so at what point is it on Carson Wentz to, put into practice what the coaches have been teaching him for the past, his 4th year in the league?
I'm not understanding what has happened to him and how he has fallen totally off the cliff. Because I just find it amazing at what's going on with him right now.
And Deuce Staley, I would assume he still handles the running backs, even though he's been promoted to like an offensive assistant, head coach, this, that, the other, whatever his job title is right now. He has more responsibilities than just to coach the running backs. Do you think Deuce Staley is telling Miles Sanders, just dance around in that hole and hope something happens and don't put your foot in the ground and run north-south? I'd rather you lose 2 yards and maybe score a touchdown than get 4 yards on first down and be ahead of the sticks. You think Deuce Staley's telling him that? Because the other Jordan Howard went in the game yesterday. He got the most carries on the team, and Jordan Howard's running downhill and getting positive yards damn near every time he touches the ball. Miles Sanders is not.
That was the strange thing, and that's a problem because you know what, the coaches, he's not listening to the coaches, or the coaches aren't telling him how they want him to play. I mean, it's got to be one way or the other. It's one or the other. And if the player's not listening, then the player has to go. If the coaches are coaching him to his strength, then that's a problem.
But what is Miles Sanders? What is his strength? What is his strength? He's not a dynamic receiver out of the backfield.
He's got speed.
I mean, he fumbles the ball way too much. I mean, yeah, he's speedy and explosive when he's a decisive runner, and he's rarely a decisive runner. I'm just fed up with seeing that this song and dance with Miles Sanders doesn't get enough touches. He hasn't earned shit. He barely deserves the touches he does get. And I'm so sick of having his yards per carry thrown in my face. Like it's Doug's fault that he pussyfoots around in the hole, doesn't hit the hole hard, and refuses to run north-south. That's not Doug Peterson's fault. That's why Jordan Howard got more carries than Miles Sanders yesterday. Because Doug Peterson...
He's trying to send them a message, obviously.
Well, Doug Peterson and the coaching staff, they trust Jordan Howard more. They trust Jordan Howard to get... It's more likely that he's going to get a positive play, get a 4 or 5 yard game, give Carson Wentz a chance to be ahead of the sticks for once, and have it be 2nd and 5. Maybe you run it again on 2nd down, then it's 3rd and 3.
When your quarterback is struggling the way Carson Wentz is, you also need to run the ball more. They seem to abandon the run pretty quickly.
You get down double digits, and then what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, that's true. Wow.
I mean, they ran the ball. I mean, that's a great ball by Alex Smith, and I don't know who this Sims guy, number 89, is, but he looks like another diamond in the rough found by the Washington football
team. And by the way, how about the NFC East in a position to beat 2 first-place teams this week? Yeah,
look, I mean,
our division has gotten beat up, and how nobody deserves anything, and this and that and everything else. You know, Washington goes into Pittsburgh and beats Pittsburgh. The Giants go.
Well, they haven't won. They haven't won yet.
Well, I'll tell you what. They look like the better team. They just stopped Pittsburgh on 4th and 1, and now they are marching down the field.
Look, I mean, the chickens had to come home to roost at some point for Pittsburgh. I mean, they didn't have a bye week. They got cheated out of their bye week. I mean, they just played on, what was it, Sunday?
No, they played.
When did they play? When did they play? They're playing on a super short week. They played Wednesday, right? Wednesday at 3, they played the Ravens, and now they're back at it on Monday, whereas the Ravens get to play tomorrow and get an extra day rest so Lamar Jackson can come off the COVID list, which doesn't break my heart because Lamar Jackson is going to bend over the Dallas Cowboys tomorrow.
Yeah,
but I mean,
he is.
But you know what I'm saying? And then they lost Bud Dupree and Devin Bush to injury. I mean, they can't run the ball at all. James Conner is hurt. I mean, Benny Snell and Anthony McFarland, I mean, they're okay role players, but they can't establish a run with them. It's been all Ben Roethlisberger and those three great receivers they have, Juju, Deontay Johnson, and Chase Claypool, the rookie. So, like, it doesn't surprise me that – and plus they've gotten a lot of breaks schedule-wise. They played a lot of backup quarterbacks.
They
played the
teams too. That's true. I mean,
the AFC North was fortunate to draw the NFC East this year. That's their NFC division that they're playing. So they played. They were able to beat the Cowboys with Garrett Gilbert. They play in Washington right now. They beat the Giants in Week 1 when the Giants they just didn't have it together that early in the season. Fairly easy win, even though the Giants stuck with them. They were able to pick apart the Eagles. The Eagles came back late in that game, but the game was never in question in Pittsburgh's favor. So it doesn't surprise me that Pittsburgh dropped the game, and they're going to play the Bills, and they might drop that game too. I think the Chiefs are the best team in the league. Like, I don't think.
Tell you what, Denver did a nice job against them yesterday.
They did. And Denver, Brad, we're getting ready to we're going to live react to this. It looks like they're going to
defense really look good. I'll tell you what, this is a big play right here, because if they keep him back here and he drops the ball, and you know what, now it's going to be a very long field goal in a very
it's not that long. Hopkins is pretty solid for them, but we'll see if he makes it. The other game, the Bills and the Niners.
Heinz Field is not an easy place to kick long field.
No, it's notoriously bad. Just like the old Meadowlands used to be bad. Yeah,
for whatever reason, I'm not sure why, but he's been pretty solid though. 16 for 21 inside 50. He's gonna get about a 48-yarder right here.
45-yarder.
45. Okay, that's well within his range.
He kicks it right on through. There is a flag. I think the Steelers might have been offsides here. But I'm not taking they shouldn't take the points off the board.
They're not take the if the Steelers were offside, then they'll keep the 3 points.
Yeah, I thought they got a little uppity trying to block it. Yeah, they're offside. So you just decline it. You keep the points on the board. You're up 20-17. You need to stop. Brad, the other game, the Niners and the Bills are about to kick off here on ESPN. Brad, I love the Niners in this game. I think I'm laying 1. I like this Niners team. I mean, they could make it. If Arizona keeps slipping, the Niners could take that last playoff spot, but they got to win tonight. And
you know what? This game is also very, very big for the Buffalo Bills because the Miami Dolphins are breathing down their necks. Although next week, Miami is going to probably lose because they're playing in Kansas City, so I would expect that to be a loss for them. But that's still going to be a very, very, very big game for Buffalo as well.
Yeah, and they've been solid all year. Josh Allen's been pretty solid. Stephon Diggs has been a great signing. They have 2 pretty good running backs, and Zach Moss and Devin Singletary, who are both healthy now. The Bills are a good team. The Niners are just starting to get healthy. The Niners are just starting to peak at the right time. The Niners remind me a lot of the 2018 edition of the Philadelphia Eagles. Nick Mullins, the backup quarterback, he's about on the same level as Nick Foles. I mean, they're starting to get healthy. Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk are healthy.
Deebo Samuel, they really missed him when he was out. They still don't.
Dynamic playmaker.
They don't have Kittle, do they? He's not going to be playing.
No, he's out for the year. So they're still missing him. But Raheem Mostert, their starting running back, who I think is a pretty good player, he's back and healthy.
Yeah,
he had a pretty good game last week.
That'll help. I mean, I like San Francisco because I always like the home teams on Monday Night Football. So that's
now this game, from what I understand, is in Glendale because the California government isn't allowing the Niners to conduct business because of COVID, and that's a whole nother situation. It just irks me to my core, these COVID restrictions. So the Steelers have the ball. That game's knocked down. That ball is intercepted by the Washington football team, And the Washington football team looks like they're going to steal this game. Wow. Wow.
I like that.
I called it. Everyone said I was an idiot for saying the Redskins were going to win this game outright. Joke's on you this time. I finally got one right.
We're right. Outright.
And then I'm gonna roll that right into the Niners. Right into the Niners tonight. I like the Niners. I mean, I'm not sure what there's let's look at the Niners schedule.
This is a huge win for them.
It's a win they had to have, because if they lost and the Giants get a win that nobody expected them to get up in Seattle, that's basically a clinch for the Giants. You can't be a game back and get swept by the team ahead of you and still have a chance. Like, it's an uphill battle.
Exactly. So now, once again, the football team holds serve, and I'm very impressed. I'm really impressed by that. I mean, look, for as much ridicule as the NFC East has gotten, and deservedly so, okay, right now they have two teams in this division who are playing their best football of the year. I mean, the Washington football team, and we've seen them crush Dallas a couple of times. Okay, they beat Philadelphia up in the beginning of the season. I mean, if the football team hadn't gotten careless in Detroit that 1 week, they'd be in first place right now. I mean,
yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty incredible right now what we're seeing with the Giants and Washington. Those two teams right now, I don't think anybody really wants to play them right now during the regular season. Now, I don't know about who makes the playoffs at this point. We'll see. But right now, these guys are both playing with house money. Nobody expected the Giants or the Washington football team at the beginning of the season to be leading the NFC East. Nobody. And they both seem to be peaking at the right time, while Philly and Dallas both appear to be sliding down the proverbial steps and sliding down that pole into the cellar. So, I mean, we'll see what happens.
Now, all due respect to the Washington football team, I think the Giants are the best team in the division. I do. I think Washington caught Pittsburgh at a really good time.
They did, and keep in mind the Giants did it with their with a inferior quarterback who wouldn't be playing. Washington, you can sit there and say Alex Smith is not their top strength. Well, yes, he is. He's the best quarterback on the team. I mean, he's better than Haskins. He's better than that guy. Who was that guy? Allen?
Kyle Allen.
Yeah. Kyle Allen, the guy that they got from Carolina. He's better than them too. So, I mean, let's be fair about it. Okay, and that's just going to be how it is. So, I mean,
getting to the point, if I'm the top wild card team and I have to go to the Meadowlands and play that defense, better come to play. You're gonna get hit. You're gonna get hit in the mouth, and if you're not ready to play, you're gonna lose.
Or if you play Washington in Washington, you better be ready to play too, because that defense is.
I wouldn't be as scared of that, because Washington's defense is good, but it's not championship caliber like I think the Giants is, and I don't know. Alex Smith just wouldn't scare me in a playoff game. With all due respect to Alex Smith.
Uh-oh. Rob, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, because I couldn't hear you for a minute.
All right, let's get to some let's get to some comments here. Jake Frio, what's up, boys? I agree to the poll. Might as well see what Hurts has. I mean, yeah, Jake. I mean, I totally agree. I mean, you have 0% chance to win that game with Carson Wentz at quarterback. You have a puncher's chance with Jalen Hurts, and maybe it'll serve Wentz well just to sit for a game and watch Jalen Hurts run the offense. Jake Friel, he also thinks Wentz will go to Indianapolis. So I guess Jake thinks that they're just going to eat the dead cat money and get him out of town and give Hurts the QB1 job.
Or they draft one of those top. Listen, right now they could have a top 5 draft.
Yeah, but Brad, you're going to draft quarterback second round, then quarterback in the top 10 in 2 straight years.
The idea.
The only way that would happen is if Howie Roseman gets fired.
Right, but the idea is to try to win a championship. The idea is not to worry about. Listen, what happened with the Cardinals? They went and used the 10th pick of the draft to draft a quarterback. Okay, and you know what? They said, you know what? Screw it. We can get a better quarterback in the draft. Let's go for it. And they did. And you know what? They made the right choice.
They did.
Kyler Murray.
That's a good example.
Kyler Murray is just he's a good quarterback. I mean, if you think that one of these quarterbacks, right now, you're not going to get Fields, obviously, and you're not going to get Lawrence either. But you know what? There's a couple of other guys who are really, really good, from what I understand, that are top-rated quarterbacks.
Yeah, but I mean, those are the two guys. I can't.
But you never know. You never know.
I hear you, but I mean, you need a second corner because Avonte Maddox, he's horrible. I mean, he gets beat up and down the field. Darius Slay, who the Eagles paid to be a shutdown corner, he can't cover me or you. I mean, he's getting torched left and right, and he left with an injury yesterday. So he's been a major disappointment.
And you gave up your 3rd round pick for him too.
Yeah, but that's fine. I'm not faulting the move and the logic in bringing in Darius Slay because the Eagles' secondary over the past couple seasons before this season has been dreadful. So I understand the logic. Obviously,
do you agree with this move right here with the Redskins trying to kick a field goal when they're up 3 with 21 seconds to go, or would you try to?
What should they do?
I would punt and pin them back at the 5-yard line and make them go 90 yards in 15 seconds, because that could have gotten blocked. I mean, I get it; they made it, but
it didn't, and I don't really care because I'm going to cover the spread, even if Pittsburgh gets some miracle touchdown. Speaking of that, did you see how the New York Jets lost yesterday?
Yeah, I was watching most of that game.
Are you kidding me?
Greg Williams has been fired, by the way.
Yeah, he lost his job because of that, and good riddance. First off, where's your safety help? Where's your safety help? Why are you not prevent guarding the goal line?
Yeah, why would you let that guy go? Why are you letting their receivers go one-on-one and put pressure on the quarterback? I mean, come on, that was ridiculous. I mean,
and then the guy, the jabroni, he bites on a double move with 5 seconds left.
I mean, that's
why. What are you doing?
The other thing is, they should have had 3 safeties standing on the goal line.
Right.
I mean, Greg Williams, and I never was a big fan of Greg Williams. He got what he deserved yesterday by getting fired. I mean, I don't know if he purposely called that play because he doesn't want to coach there anymore. I don't know, but what a joke. And it's a shame because you know what? That was a game the Jets had. I mean, really, the Jets should have a couple of wins. They shouldn't have lost the New England game either. And, I don't know if they're going to get another chance like that to win a football game. They may not. No,
they're going winless.
Yeah.
Bryce Blackwell's chiming in. Carson Wentz was breaking records last season. First QB in Eagles history to throw for more than 4,000 yards. And first QB in NFL history to throw for more than 4,000 yards without a receiver having 1,000 yards. Yeah, I know the stats. And I've seen Carson Wentz in the past. He's been good. He's not good. He's not good right now. To say he stinks would be an insult to people who stink. Carson Wentz has been downright dreadful as a quarterback this year.
The Giants had back in the early 70s, they had a Hall of Fame quarterback who all of a sudden 1 year fell off the cliff, Fran Tarkenton. Okay? And they went and took Tarkenton and they traded him to Minnesota. And he took Minnesota to, I believe, was it 2 or 3 Super Bowls? It was 3 Super Bowls because they lost. Yeah, he lost to Miami, he lost to Pittsburgh, and then he lost to Oakland. But the bottom line is they took a quarterback, and Fran definitely fell off the deep end because he only had 13 touchdown passes in his last year as a Giant and 10 interceptions. And believe me when I tell you, from like 69 to 72, he was the whole team. And I mean, he was kind of like the Archie Manning of the Giants. He did a lot of really good stuff, but they couldn't get over the hump. I think one year they were 9-5, and then they choked when they had a chance to make the playoffs. But he had his one year where he looked terrible, and they got rid of him, and then he went to Minnesota and put it all together again, and ended up being a Hall of Famer. I wouldn't be shocked if that happened with Wentz. Wentz has ability. I don't know what has happened to him. I don't know if it's his body breaking down. I don't know if he's flinching now in the pocket. I just don't know. I don't know what has happened to him, but he looks horrible right now. And I don't know if it's coaching. I think it's coaching a lot. I'm still blaming the coach. I mean, that's the only thing I could think of. I mean, obviously you have to blame Carson somewhat. He has to take responsibility for his inept play. But when a guy is that good, I mean, this guy was MVP-like. He was literally on the same level as Aaron Rodgers. That's how good he was back in 2017 before he busted up his knee. Okay, and to go from that, and to go all the way down to looking like Mark Sanchez now, and yeah, he's that bad now, Rob. He is that bad. It's unbelievable.
So Paul Holembowski, he wants to know what happens if Hurts sucks against the Saints. Let him play against the Saints. I don't care if he throws 18 interceptions against the Saints.
He probably is going to suck against the Saints because you know what? The Saints have.
I want to see 60 minutes of Jalen Hurts on Sunday.
You know what? They have a really great defense right now, so he may suck. But you know what? The following week, he's not going to be playing that team. I think they're going to play the Cardinals, right?
Yes.
Okay, the Cardinals' defense isn't that good.
That's why just let him play. Let Hurts play.
The Rams made mincemeat out of their defense yesterday. I mean, they gave up 38 points to the Rams yesterday.
My point being, look at the Miami Dolphins, Brad. Ryan Fitzpatrick, he wins 2 games in a row. He's got the Dolphins rolling. They decide to make the change. They decide the future's now. They put Tua in.
By the way, he had a bad game, and they put Fitzpatrick in the next.
They went into Denver, and Brian Flores pulled the plug on Tua and said, you know what? It's not happening today, Tua. We're going to go with Ryan because I think he gives us the best chance to make a comeback and win this game.
Which he did.
No, they lost that game. But they were driving.
The next week, he went back to Tua. No, they went to Fitzpatrick for 1 week. For 1 week,
I think Tua's thumb was banged up, so he had that as an excuse. But guess what? When Tua was ready to go and doctors and coaches deemed him healthy, guess what? They went to Tua, and they got a big win yesterday. And Tua's not broken.
Very big win.
Because he got benched.
No.
You can go back to Carson. It's okay. You can go to Jalen for a game, 2 games, maybe even the rest of the season.
See,
next year.
I would go the rest of the season because you know what? I don't think that you're going to make the playoffs regardless of who the quarterback is. I think you need to get Hurts in there, and you need to see
another game to the Giants and the Redskins.
Let him play, and let's see what happens. Okay, I'll tell you what. If you put Carson in there against the Redskins, he's going to be a sitting duck.
Like he was in week 1.
Right. And you know what? If you put him in against the New Orleans Saints with that pass rush and with that defense, I mean, he's going to be a sitting duck. So why not let the kid play? It's not a bad idea. And you know what? Against the Cardinals, he's going to get his opportunity because he's going to be going against a less than established defense. Now he's going to have a tough time against Washington, no doubt. I mean, but you know what? Again, he'll have a few games under his belt to get better and better. I think the guy needs to play. And
Paulie Holembowski says, Hurts? Really? Yeah, really. Carson Wentz has been that bad.
He has been that bad.
He has been that bad. He's the worst starting quarterback in the league right now. Mitchell Trubisky is better than Carson Wentz right now.
Right now, even Jones is more effective than Wentz right now.
So, okay, if you think Hurts is going to go out there and fall flat on his face against a good defense in New Orleans, there's merit to that. That probably will happen. But I mean, I know that right now, with the way Carson's playing, with the way the whole sum of everything that's going on right now, I know Carson Wentz is going to fall flat on his face.
He needs to watch a little bit. And you know what? And then next season, you're probably going to be stuck with him. So you coach him up in the summer, and you try to get his confidence back. And you hope that he's better next year. But you know what? If he's not, then you let Hurts be the quarterback next year if he wins the job, and you go from there. And if Hurts isn't the answer, then you know what? Then probably you go to the well. I mean, again, you could always draft a quarterback this year in the draft if that's what you want to do, or you could try to fill your needs with other players. I mean, I know that their salary cap is probably not going to be in a bad position, because the one strength Howie Roseman does have is that he's pretty good at cap control.
Yeah, and Alshon will be off the books. Deshaun will be off the books. That's right. A chunk of change right there. He was able to restructure Fletcher Cox's contract.
Those unfortunately are two big wastes of money. So you'll probably have an extra 25 million to spend next year?
I don't know. I'm not a cap guy. I'd have to look at it. I'm not ready to talk about the cap.
But you could always go out and help your team by picking a good player out in free agency. And they're going to need to do that. They're going to need to spend a few bucks and bring in some top-notch talent.
And then Robert Gilchrist wants me to watch the film Packers blitz and rushed lots against Wentz, played soft zone and rushed 4 a game against Hurts. I mean, okay. That doesn't change the fact that Wentz has been downright dreadful for 13 weeks. That's almost 4 months. When's enough? I can't do it. I can't go out. I can't trot him out there anymore. They had 4 yards before the last drive of the first half against the Seattle Seahawks. 4 yards in an NFL game where every rule, every stipulation is designed so that there's yards and points scored. And the Eagles had 4 yards.
I mean, even the Giants had more than that with their backup quarterback. And their backup quarterback, by the way, might be the worst backup quarterback in the league. But yet he managed.
I saw on one of these betting shows, Brad, that Colt McCoy is the worst quarterback in NFL history against the spread.
He's terrible. I mean, every time he went to throw yesterday, I was scared that he was going to throw an interception or fumble. But you know what? He at least, I mean, one thing I will say, Jason Garrett had a good game plan. He kept all the throws right, close to the vest. The only time he made Colt McCoy throw was on the last drive that the Giants had. They got the ball with 6 minutes to go. Seattle had just scored a touchdown to make it 17-12. And at that point, McCoy had to throw a couple of passes, and he threw 2 really nice balls. And they got a couple of first downs, and they were able to run the clock beyond 2 minutes. Seattle got the ball with 1:57 to go and only 1 timeout. And you know what? At that point, I got to tell you, I felt pretty good about that, because I figured all the Giants had to do was get 1 or 2 sacks and keep them in bounds a couple of times, and they're not going to be able to do it. And you know what? By the time they got to midfield, I mean, yeah, there were like 40 seconds to go, but they had no timeouts. And if they threw the ball long down the field, half the game would be gone. There'd be like 15, 20 seconds to go. They'd have to be throwing in the end zone every time. And really, hats off to Patrick Graham, the defensive coordinator for the Giants. What a great game plan to stifle DK Metcalf. I mean, DK Metcalf, for the most part, really wasn't visible, and they were able to stop Lockett from really being effective. I mean, really the most effective Seattle player yesterday was that running back of theirs.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a great win. The Giants did great. And Leonard Press, it says it perfectly. Talking playoffs is a joke. Giants are peaking while the Eagles are tanking. At least Hurts is a compelling reason to watch. Let him provide a Michael Vick-like spark.
That's a very good comment.
And I agree with them. Let Hurts go see what he's doing. And the Niners just capped off a 98-yard drive, Brad, as they take a 6-0 lead on a Kyle Juszczyk. 1 yard. He might not have gotten in. Close. We'll see what they say. Either way, it's either a touchdown or be 4th and goal on the 1, which it's 4th and goal. They called them short. So they haven't capped it off yet. We'll see if they can punch it in here. But, I mean, they Nick Mullins and the Niners, they went down on a pretty good Buffalo team, a 98-yard drive with relative ease. Big chunk plays. Mostert a couple big runs. Jordan Reed had a big catch. And it looks like he's down there.
Yeah, he's down. He's down on the half-yard line.
Ryan Brodo wants Howie Roseman fired. I mean, I hate Howie Roseman. I think the way he's constructed this team, the logic in which he uses to construct this team has just been flawed for years, and it's finally caught up to him in terms of the bad drafting. You can't draft poor and sustain success in this league.
No, it's pretty much
you can't do it.
It's pretty much impossible to do that. You've got to be able to draft. I mean, it's too hard.
I never heard Alshon Jeffrey all game until Hurts threw to him. Yeah, Alshon Jeffrey stinks. Alshon Jeffrey has no legs. Alshon Jeffrey has no explosiveness. Alshon Jeffrey is a waste of space there.
He's cooked.
For him to be taking snaps away from a young, promising player like Travis Fulgham, and I know he's got film on him now and he's kind of fallen off, but for Alshon Jeffrey to be in the game over Travis Fulgham is the Eagles front office in a microcosm. Why not put the kid out there? Why are you putting Alshon Jeffrey out there?
You might start seeing this happen this week. I mean, if I'm the Eagles, let the kids play. You got nothing to lose. You're playing the New Orleans Saints, who are a very, very good football team. Okay? You're playing that team. You know what? You're going in with house money. This is a game nobody expects you to win. So you know what? No pressure. Just go in there, have some fun, play loose, and go out there and let it rip and see what happens.
Let it rip. That's what Carson did. When Carson's at his best, he goes out there and he lets it rip. And he hasn't let it rip all season for whatever reason. If you want to blame the coaches, seems like everyone wants to blame everyone but Carson.
Oh, I blame Carson, but I think that the coaching's a problem. I really do. I mean,
the coaching's definitely a problem.
I mean, personally, if I'm their owner, I'd be getting rid of both Peterson and Howie.
I can't fire Doug after this season. I can't do it.
Yeah, well, you know what the problem is?
I can't.
Once it starts to go, it just goes. That's the problem. Listen, you know what?
It's not a bad. That's not a bad point.
The Falcons didn't want to fire Mike Smith, and they held on to him way too long. You know, it's because Mike Smith brought them to the Super Bowl, and they lost that crushing game against the Patriots. But you know what? They held on to him too long. Sometimes you gotta either fish or cut bait. Sometimes you just have to do it. It may not seem like the right thing to do. And did Buffalo stop him? They stopped him.
Wow.
Buffalo with a big defensive stand.
That's awesome. That's totally awesome because they got shredded the whole drive. The Niners went all up and down the field, and then they stop them on 4th and goal from the 1-inch yard line, and the Niners get no points.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was a pretty good call too. I mean, they were there.
It's not a good call because they're in shotgun from the 1-yard line. I hate that. It irks me to my core when teams. Well,
because you want the guy to get a running start. I get all that. Sometimes, I mean, you know what? Bottom line is the Buffalo Bills just made a huge play. I mean, I'm sorry, you stop a team on a drive like that at the 1-yard line. That's championship level football. Oh, they just fumbled.
Oh man!
I think San Francisco got it back.
Wow, you can't do that.
Did San Francisco? It looked like San Francisco got the ball back.
Wow.
They did. Oh boy.
Now that's like a double backbreaker because you just got all this momentum from the goal line stand, and then the Stu Nod fumbles.
Oh boy, no.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah, you can't expect their defense to go out there and stop them again.
And we got some that big Tom Arnaud, big win for Washington. Bob Brinkman. Hopefully, Doug was watching Washington throw into the flat all night long. Something we don't do. But yeah, Bob. I mean, Miles Sanders drops the ball too much. Stone hands, or Carson holds it too long and just lets the whole pocket collapse on him.
One thing about Alex Smith, if you let him, if you allow him to manage the game, as far as a game manager quarterback, he's a very good game manager quarterback. If you want him to start throwing the ball down the field, he's not going to beat you. But those short passes and him being able to run out of those formations and move around and make plays, he's always been able to do that. And he still can.
Tom Arnaud, he looked up the cap figure. The Eagles are currently $52 million over the cap. I'm not sure if that's projected or
$52 million over the cap.
Over the cap, yeah. Well, all's Howie does, like Howie. Because now you're gonna get me worked up with Howie again because he's supposed to be good at this, and then I see the comment that we're $52 million over the cap. Very established that he can't draft. He can't recognize anything. Hence why Justin Jefferson, DK Metcalf, Jeremy Chin, the list goes on and on. There, the Niners finally capped it off. Brandon Ayuk.
Well, they finally
touchdown.
They finally wised up and threw the ball, Rob.
Another guy that was picked behind Jalen Reagor, who looks like he's going to be quite a dynamic player in this league.
The kid on Cincinnati, that receiver on Cincinnati, looks pretty good too. By the way,
T. Higgins.
He's definitely looking good. And boy, Cincinnati, what a tough break. That quarterback, Brandon Allen, who I thought looked pretty good.
Yeah, he wasn't doing bad.
It wasn't doing bad. He played pretty well against the Giants. He went and got hurt yesterday. So now Finley is going to be their quarterback. And who's Cincinnati playing next week?
I don't know. We're going to go through it. We'll go through the game soon.
Yeah, I mean,
they were caught up on comments.
Okay. By the way, Bill Middlebrooks had some pretty good comments regarding the Giants, and yes, I admit I was very hard on them, but if you saw the way they were inventing ways to lose, I mean, it's not like they were getting blown out. They were just every different possible way you could find to lose a game, whether it was not getting the ball in the end zone at the end of the game or allowing a team to get into field goal range right at the end of the game. Okay. I mean, it was or having pass interference not called on a 2-point conversion when a guy is clearly all over our receiver, like the Tampa Bay game. Those kind of games, they lost all those games. I think it Rams when the Giants got the ball all the way down to the Rams 7-yard line and couldn't get the ball in the end zone to tie up that game. When they got to the 11-yard line against the Bears and couldn't tie up the game, couldn't take the lead in that game. They've had a lot of tough games, and they lost a lot of close games to good teams. So I mean, if you really want to look at it, you're right. I was probably a little rough on them, and they were showing that they could play with all these teams. The big difference for this team was when they beat the Washington football team the second time, they were in the process of blowing a 20-3 lead. And then the defense got 2 interceptions in a row on the last 2 series Washington had to hold them off and win that game 20-17. I think that was the turnaround. That's where the defense realized that they can win a game by themselves. And if the Giants don't give the damn ball away with Jones with the fumbling and everything, that they could actually win some games. Now, McCoy didn't fumble yesterday. He threw the 1 interception, which really was not his fault. That was Evan Ingram's fault, as always. Evan Ingram.
He's your whipping boy up there.
Evan Ingram,
sure.
You know what? He's an infuriating player because the guy's got so much talent, but he's such a meathead. Actually, or as my friend Bob would say, my Yankee Bob, he would call his favorite thing is he would call him a blockhead because he really is a blockhead. I mean, the guy will go out, he'll drop passes that are right in his hands, and then he'll literally scoop a ball 2 inches off the ground and run with it for 30 yards. And you'd be like, well, what? Where the hell was that? Or a ball? I mean, I think when was it? There was one game where I think Jones threw a ball to him, and the ball hit him in the helmet. It hit him in the helmet. I mean, how do you let a ball hit you in the helmet? This is the kind of guy. I mean, but he does make great plays. But this is the kind of guy he is, and he'll drive you nuts. You know, he's like the outfielder who makes the incredible catch and then drops the easy one.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah,
I want to look at the playoff. I want the playoff picture in each conference. I want to start with the AFC.
Okay.
Tennessee, Cleveland, those teams, between the Raiders, the Colts, the Dolphins, the Browns, and the Titans.
I think the Browns sent a clear message that they're better than those teams. That's a catch, by the way. But the Browns sent them a message. Listen, did they take their foot off the accelerator yesterday when they had that lead? Absolutely. Nice pass by Josh Allen. Real nice pass. Cole Beasley makes a nice. Cole Beasley still has good hands.
Josh Allen has a cannon.
Yes, he does. That Cole Beasley, you know, he's not a great receiver, but boy, I just remember when he was on Dallas, how he used to torture the Giants. I mean, yeah, I mean they could never stop him. Him and Jason Witten, the two of them. But this is a real nice throw by Josh Allen. I mean, on the run. I mean, right on target. This is
how do the Chiefs? Is there a scenario outside of injury where the Chiefs don't go to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, there is. If Pittsburgh is on top of their game defensively,
I don't know how they're going to be on top of their game defensively with Bud Dupree and Devin Bush, two of their best defensive players, out for the year.
Yeah, well, Dupree we knew about. Devin Bush, I think, was today, right?
Bud Dupree was last week. Devin Bush has been out for weeks.
Oh, okay. You know, I know Bud Dupree just recently. I had posted on Facebook that was a big loss for them. One of their other linebackers got hurt today.
Yeah, that Spillane guy.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think he went back in.
Did he?
I think.
Because boy, what happened to Pittsburgh's defense in the second half? I mean, what an impressive – that is an impressive – if you're a fan of the Washington football team, you are just as psyched as us Giant fans right now. Because you know what? Even at 5-7, we're both our teams, the Washington football team and the Giants, believe it or not, are even back in wild card contention if they don't win. That's why this is a big game with San Francisco, because if San Francisco loses, then they're 5-7. And that would put them.
And if Buffalo loses, that would drop them into a tie with the Miami Dolphins for the AFC East lead. That would be both teams would be 8-4. Then you have Las Vegas at 7-5, Baltimore at 6-5. Out on the outside looking in, the Baltimore Ravens. I don't think anybody predicted that coming into the season. And still hanging around, Brad, are the New England Patriots, who get a 45-0 win over the Los Angeles Chargers, who are just dreadful. I don't know how I didn't get an alert on my phone today that Anthony Lynn has been fired. I mean, that guy stinks. He can't coach. I mean, the Chargers to be 3-9 with that talent is just that's laughable. Like, I know they've had a few injuries.
I'll tell you who I think is going to end up replacing him is Eric Bieniemy.
He's going to coach somewhere, especially the fact where
he's getting a lot of play as possibly the next Jet coach. So if the Jets don't grab him, San Diego just might.
Well, Plus, with the amended Rooney rule, Brad, you get a third-round pick if you hire him based on his race and ethnicity of him being an African American hire.
Yes, and that would probably be a good thing.
Why would you not hire? I'd hire a dope. I'd hire a dope to get an extra third-round pick, especially if I were a rebuilding team, which most teams who fire their coach are. Like,
if I'm the
no-brainer.
If you're the Jets, what do you do about Darnold?
That's very interesting because you can't not take Trevor Lawrence.
No.
Now, if you don't get the first pick for whatever reason, and you don't get Trevor Lawrence,
you think that they're going to win a game?
I'm just saying they could. I mean, I don't know. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just saying, if they win, if they luck into a win and they get the second pick and they don't get Trevor Lawrence, then I'd be desperately trying to move back because I think Justin Fields is good, but I don't know. Second pick in the draft, I don't know about that. I also don't know who else is in the draft. Yeah, there's our friend Yusef Khan, our resident Washington football team fan. He said the Eagles were going to yeah, I did. I told you there was no chance, but they won. I bet the football team money line and spread, so I won some money off of it.
Rob loved them today, and I was the one saying you're out of your mind. But guess what?
It's just like the Steelers. I mean, I watched the Steelers play, and they don't strike me as an 11-0 team.
No, you know what? The fact that the Ravens were able to give them a pretty good battle with Griffin as their quarterback. I mean, Griffin. Think about that. RG3. And they only lost 19-14. That should tell you all you need to know about Pittsburgh. But Pittsburgh is still very good. Now, I'm just wondering who, since they lost to an NFC team and they're tied, I guess it would go to conference record. Kansas City lost to Oakland, so Pittsburgh technically at this point
they are still the number one seed in the AFC. Yes,
they would still be because they lost to an NFC team. So, and there's a beautiful pass.
Well, they haven't tied the game yet. That's a great touchdown dance.
Yeah, that's
the offensive lineman picking up Cole Beasley and rocking him to sleep like a baby.
Yeah, right.
Because of the size difference, that's a phenomenal touchdown dance.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Watch how the Cole Beasley is covered like a blanket. He just puts it right in there. I mean, that's a beautiful pass. Look at that. I mean, the guy's right on him. I mean, right on him. I mean, had he had a reach for that pass in any way, Rob? Like if he had to reach to his right or his left or had to go down or up, he's not holding on to that ball. That ball would have been knocked loose.
You see how that kicker hit it right in the center of the upright?
Yes. Yeah, I know.
Wouldn't know what that's like.
You're getting upset about your place kicker. Place kickers can really mess with a team's head. They really can. You know, last year when we had Rosas and Rosas couldn't kick the ball through, couldn't kick a beach ball into the ocean. I mean, there were so many games where he was costing us because he couldn't kick an extra point. He couldn't kick a field goal. I mean, you know, the only thing he was good for was he would always get a touchback because he had a hell of a leg. But he went from being an all-pro kicker one year to not being able to put the ball in the ocean.
And Yusef, I see you. I gave you props. I laughed at you. I called you an idiot for thinking the Washington football team was going to beat the Steelers on the first ever Fan Friday. I did, however, laugh at you and I did make fun of you, but I did profit on your team's victory with a money line and spread bet.
He did say today he thought they were going to win outright, and I toasted him. And guess what? I was wrong. And you know what? Yusef, the Giants and Redskins are going to go right down to the wire with these games. I mean, who would ever think that I could actually be rooting for the Eagles in a football game? Other than, but of course, when they play Dallas, which, nobody roots for Dallas. So, but I mean, the fact that I'm going to be rooting for you guys to beat the Washington football team at the end of the season. How about that?
So, Brett, who are your AFC wildcard teams? When it's all said and done, who's going to make it?
Without looking at the standings, okay? Because this is strictly the eye test, okay? I'm going to have to still go with Buffalo as the division winner, and I think it's going to be Miami. I think the Ravens are going to find a way to get back into the playoffs, and the Titans.
Well, the Titans are a division leader right now.
Yeah, but I think they're going to end up being a wild card. I think the Colts are going to find a way in that division.
So you have Cleveland at 9-3 as of right now, missing the playoffs.
Oh, I forgot about them. I forgot about them.
I mean, they could. It's Cleveland. They could mess everything up.
Cleveland's going to make the playoffs. You know what? I'm going to have to leave the Titans out of the playoffs. I think the Colts are going to find their way into winning that division. I just don't like they play
Titans, no playoff. Titans.
The Colts play the Titans next week, don't they?
No, the Titans play the Jaguars next week. Indianapolis plays the Raiders in Vegas. That's a huge game in terms of this wild card standings.
Indianapolis does play Tennessee again, though.
No, they're done.
Oh, they're done?
The Colts they split.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they split.
Colts
beat them bad. The Colts beat them bad on Thursday night earlier in the season. The Titans paid back the favor 2 weeks ago.
Titans
and beat the Colts pretty bad.
The Titans defense has been downright terrible. No, the Browns are a lock to make the playoffs. Aren't they like a 97% chance of making it now? Something like that.
I don't know.
I can't remember what it was, but the Browns are going to make. I forgot about the Browns. And my apologies, but no. Let's go with Miami. The Browns, and
Baltimore. You got Baltimore getting in.
Yeah, and Baltimore.
So no Vegas, no Tennessee, no New England in the playoffs for Brad.
Nope. The Ravens are just. They
need to get all their players off the COVID list.
Yeah, but they got that it factor. They're gonna find their way into the play. I mean, honestly, of all the games the Giants have left right now, they're the one team I'm scared of the most of having to play, because we have left the Cardinals, the Ravens, the Cowboys, and who's the other one? I can't remember.
Cowboys is the last.
Cowboys is the last game of the season. So they've got the Ravens still. They got the Cardinals, and there's one other team, and I'm trying to remember who it was. Was it somebody in
Did you play the Ravens?
No,
we had the Browns.
The Browns. Yeah, we have the Browns at home. That's going to be
so right now your Giants are the 4 seed, obviously the worst division winner at 5-7. You're going to play the Cardinals next week. We got a tussle in the NFC West between the Seahawks and the Rams. The Rams right now are in control of that division. Seattle right behind. Seattle's playing the Jets next week, so you got to think they'll win that.
I think they might destroy the Jets, because you know what, Russell Wilson and company have to be just besides themselves after losing that game to the Giants yesterday.
And then the Rams, that's the Thursday game. They're going to play the Patriots. But the development in the NFC after yesterday's action is the Minnesota Vikings have moved into the 7 seed, and the Cardinals find themselves out of the playoffs, with the San Francisco 49ers still alive. I guess Chicago, Detroit, and the Washington football team could theoretically win out and be 9-7.
Well, the Giants could do it too and be 9-7. You never know. I mean, the Giants have gotten if the 49ers, we need what the Giants need is for the 49ers to lose and at least be even with them. And then basically there's two teams that are ahead of them that are 6-6, I believe, right now in the NFC. That would be Minnesota and I'm trying to remember who that is. No, it wasn't Atlanta. They're 4.
Chicago and Detroit are also 5-7.
Yeah, they're also 5. Yeah, they're also 5-7. So there could be a bunch. I think there's 2 6-6 teams if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Minnesota and Arizona are 6-6.
Okay. So if the Giants can find a way to beat the Cardinals, they would be 6-7. They'd still be winning the division, but I want to get to a point where if I don't win the division, I still have a chance to make it as a wild card. So I think 8-8 could theoretically be a wild card since you have
an 8-8 record could give you the 7th seed in the NFC could be 8-8. The problem is the NFC is very top heavy. New Orleans at 10-2, Green Bay at 9-3, the Rams they're pretty good, Seattle they're pretty good, and Tampa is the 6th seed at 7-5.
Right.
Yeah, they're pretty good too.
Tampa has just been very.
But really, I mean, really, 5 of the 7 teams are locked in.
Right.
I don't see Tampa not making the playoffs. Seattle's going to make the playoffs. The Rams are going to make the playoffs. Who wins the West? I guess we'll wait and see. Green Bay is obviously going to make the playoffs, and New Orleans is obviously going to make the playoffs.
Minnesota,
at least one spot.
It's shocking that Minnesota. I mean, I'm not really shocked because if you remember, I told you when they beat Green Bay to make themselves 2-5, I said, watch out, they could sneak in. And now all of a sudden, bang, they're in.
Well, Arizona is they don't look like the same team that they looked like in the beginning part of the season. If San Francisco can find a way to beat Buffalo tonight, that would be a big momentum boost, and that would
be huge for them. They'd be 6-6.
In my opinion, put them in control of the 6th wild card, or the 3rd wild card, the 7th seed in the NFC, giving them a date with possibly the Packers.
I think you're definitely better than the Vikings. I'm not impressed at all with the Vikings. I got to tell you. I mean, I know that they've won a lot of their games and they're back to 6-6, but Jesus, they were lucky as hell to beat Jacksonville yesterday. I mean,
Jacksonville's been, they're not laying down.
No, I know, but Minnesota is fighting for their playoff lives. You can't allow a team like that to take you all the way down to the to overtime on the road. I mean, that's terrible. Yeah, that's the thing. Minnesota, when they're bad, they're really bad.
Yeah, but they have Kirk Cousins he's had a pretty good season. They have maybe the best running back in the league in Dalvin Cook. And they have a great receiver tandem with Justin Jefferson and Thielen.
Yep.
And their defense it's been doing just enough.
Yeah, let's be honest, though, their defense from a couple of years ago to now is kind of falling off a cliff.
Correct. Anyway, we got a game tomorrow, Brad. The Dallas Cowboys are visiting the Baltimore Ravens. I think this one could get really ugly. Baltimore's laying 8.5. I have no problem laying that 8.5.
I think Baltimore destroys them.
We move on to Thursday. Big game for New England, a rematch of the Super Bowl from a couple of years ago. They're going to go out to L.A. The Rams are 6-point favorites on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, I got it. I love the Rams in that game.
I agree with you. I think McVay and Goff get it.
Rams, to me, winning that game yesterday, I think that they really showed their will yesterday, and they won a game that was very questionable whether they could win or not.
I agree, and I think that McVay and Goff get a little bit of revenge on a less than stellar New England defense. Plus, New England just won big, so I like fading teams that win big like that.
Yeah, there's a statistic out there called the 21 gun salute for the gambling crowd that
big fan of it.
To win by 21 points or more, generally don't cover the spread the next week. It's usually about 75% of the time. I always love that stat because that's usually pretty reliable. And New England is definitely due to take a beat down at some point. Okay, so now what's the penalty going to be? Yeah, it looks like it's going to be defensive pass interference on the 49ers.
I mean, isn't that weak? It's weak, right?
That's a weak call. You know what?
I think every pass interference call is weak. I want to see him play. Unless someone... What's that? Legal contact?
Legal contact. I mean,
so the ball wasn't in the air yet.
No. I want to see where's the legal contact.
I mean, I'm sorry.
That is. If you want to go by they showed Seymour and what he did, and if you go by the rule of the book, if you're going to be
so soft, it's soft.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying, if you want to go by the book and not let them play, I just hate that because you know what? If it doesn't have anything to do with the play, don't call it. Pick up the damn flag. I mean, I'm so sick of these plays that have nothing to do, things that happen that have nothing to do with the play, that are on the other side of the field, that are ticky-tack penalties to begin with, and you're calling them. And they're affecting the game. I just think that's ridiculous. But that's
getting back to early leans here. Dallas, Cincinnati. I don't even care enough to even.
Dallas will win that game. I mean, Cincinnati is their third quarterback in there. Their number 3 quarterback. I mean, come on.
Denver visiting Carolina. Carolina coming off a bye, -3.5. Denver played Kansas City tough.
Yes, they did
last night, but in a losing effort.
Well, the key for Denver was that they were able to get Kansas City out of the end zone. I mean, what was Kansas City 1 for 6 in the red zone? Getting
they played well.
Yeah, they were in the red zone 6 times, and they ended up with 5 field goals. I mean, that's pretty impressive by Denver.
And I think Denver has talent. I think that they're a young team, and no preseason, no offseason really hurt them because of COVID.
Well, they definitely.
I look for them to take off next year.
Yeah,
maybe it's to start now at the end of the season.
They have talent on the defensive end of the ball, without question. I mean, they just need a little bit more on offense. A breakaway type of receiver would be a big help for them at this point.
Houston visiting Chicago. Chicago is actually a home.
The Bears have been so bad lately and just are looking like they're just completely falling apart. I gotta go. I'm gonna go with the Texans. What's the line of that game?
It's the Texans are the dog. Chicago is a home dog.
Chicago is a home dog
by 2 points.
Oh, I'd still take that. I like the Texans in that game. If it just
they won.
Allen may have hurt his knee.
We'll see.
Yeah, he was.
Wouldn't break my heart. I got the Niners here. A big one in the AFC. Kansas City going to Miami. This is a real test for Miami. We're going to find out a lot about that Miami defense that everyone's been talking up, which I think it's good.
Oh, I think they're for real. I definitely think they're for real. I don't see how Miami is going to beat them though. Miami
7.5. Kansas City's favored by 7.5.
I would take Miami in 7.5 at home. I think they'll keep it close. I do. I mean, it's one of those things. It's kind of like the Giants with Seattle. I thought that the Giants would absolutely cover that 10-point spread. I didn't think the Giants would win the game before the game started. but I thought the Giants would cover the spread because of their defense. And I think Miami is going to cover the spread in this game too. They'll keep it close. They're not going to get blown out.
Josh Allen and the Bills' offense is putting on a clinic.
Yes, they are. His knee is obviously okay. I just thought that he might have a problem because he was sitting there holding his knee and banging the ground before. But either that or he's just one tough guy. I mean, tell you, this Buffalo Bills team is a very gritty, gutty team.
I don't see them beating. They're going to play Pittsburgh in a couple of weeks, but I don't see them beating the Steelers or the Chiefs when the money's down. I just don't.
No, I don't think they're at that level yet. I think that they are clearly right now the third best team in the AFC.
Minnesota, Tampa Bay next week. Tampa Bay favored by 6.5.
Yeah, Tampa Bay should run them off the field. Where is that game at?
It's in Tampa.
Yeah, I think Tampa Bay is going to run them off the field. Minnesota, you cannot play so badly against Jacksonville as a playoff team. If you can barely beat Jacksonville, then you're going to go down to Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay can expose them for what they are. So, was that? No, that's not a fumble.
No, he was down.
So it's 3rd and inches now. Very impressive. These last 2 drives by Buffalo were very, very impressive.
Yes, Brian B. Believe it or not, the Eagles still have a shot to win the division. They are not mathematically eliminated.
They absolutely have a shot. They're only 1.5 games behind, and they still get to play Washington again. And they have.
It's getting to be run the table talk though.
Yeah, they're gonna have. They're gonna have to finish 7-8-1, and hope like hell that that nobody finishes 8-8.
Then they get in because of that bogus tie to the Bengals.
Right. Now it's 4th and 1, so a big defensive play, big defensive stand here. Looks like he's got the edge. Yep, he got it.
He got there.
Yep.
Big one, AFC wildcard. Indianapolis visiting Las Vegas. Las Vegas is a 2.5-point home underdog.
They're an underdog?
Yes.
Boy, that's a little disrespectful. I mean, I know they haven't been playing all that well, but I mean, they did beat the Chiefs, and when they're on their game, they beat the Saints too. I gotta take them with the points.
I agree. I'll take the home dog here. Dog Raiders.
Yeah, I mean,
Indianapolis is good, but it's not that good.
You know what? I mean, I like them, but you know what? I don't with money on the line. I don't trust them. And there's the touchdown for Buffalo, and they take
Dawson Knox.
Yeah, they take a 13-7 lead. And again, this is
Seattle is.
Yeah, they're going to cream the Jets.
13.5. I have no problem laying that. Atlanta's traveling to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. I like the Chargers. They just got embarrassed. I'll take them over the Falcons.
Falcons come off a very tough loss to the New Orleans Saints last week.
Atlanta's battled with Raheem Morris since Quinn got fired.
I think they're 4-3 since Raheem Morris took over, aren't they?
SLC, calm down. No one's saying the Eagles are going to win the division. I said they're mathematically alive to win the division, which is true. But they have to run the table and be 7-8-1 and probably hope for help.
And hope like hell that the Giants and Washington don't continue to play well. But I think both of these teams are peaking at the right point, and I think these two teams are going to be fighting it out for the division.
Green Bay's traveling to Detroit. Detroit's a 7.5-point home underdog. I'll take Detroit here.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Detroit has definitely shown some signs of life.
And I was mistaken. The Eagles are playing in Philadelphia next week.
That's what I thought. I thought because New Orleans, I think, is only a 7-point favorite.
Right. They are a 7-point favorite. The Eagles are a 7-point home dog.
Yeah, because if they were playing in New Orleans, it would be like 13, 14 points.
I hate going against home dogs, but like, how am I supposed to bet on the Eagles?
Well, Hurts' first game, maybe they come out. And
If they announce before it, but Doug's going to be gutless and spineless and stick with Carson. I know it. And then he might bench Carson midway through like he did this game, but
yeah, but if he does that, the game could be over before it starts.
I don't know. I'll take the Saints -7. Washington and San Francisco. Two teams have played tonight. Washington just got a big win. San Francisco, a 4.5-point home favorite. It's tough to judge because this game's not over yet in terms of San Francisco. But Washington just got a big win.
It's not going to be an easy game for Washington.
I usually like to fade that, and you come off a big high, you're going to hit a valley.
You think they're going to win 2 road games in a row and go across the country?
No, but I mean, I don't know. I can't pick this game until I see what happens in the rest of this game.
Yeah, I'd like to see that too. They're 2 pretty even teams. I mean,
usually I like to fade a team off a big emotional win, especially if they're going on the road again across the country.
You might be taking the Cardinals against the Giants then, because that was as big an emotional win as the Giants are ever going to have after beating the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, there's no line out yet on that game. That's why I skipped it, because no one knows who's going to play quarterback for the Giants yet.
No, and it could very well beat Jones. I mean that. But
the Giants are probably going to be home dogs, right?
Yeah, they might be.
Giants won't be.
They'll be like 2.5-point home dogs. I can't imagine they're going to be favored.
I like picking home dogs. And then next Sunday night, we got a good one. Pittsburgh traveling to Buffalo. Again, I'd like to see the rest of this game to make a more educated prediction on the game, but you got to think Pittsburgh's going to be ready to go off a loss.
Yes.
And we're going to find out if Buffalo can play with the elites of the elites, because they've already gotten smoked by Kansas City this year in Buffalo as well.
They didn't get smoked. They lost by 1 score.
Yeah, but that game was never in doubt. We were on the air during that game.
Yeah, that's true. I think they got a late score.
It's like the Eagles. The Eagles only lost by 1 possession to the Steelers and the Ravens, even though they were never anywhere near winning either game.
But they were both getting destroyed in that game, and they came back late.
Next Monday night, when we're on the air, another good one in terms of the AFC playoff picture. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are going to visit Cleveland.
Ooh, I'll tell you what.
Game is a pick'em.
I take the Ravens.
Ravens in a pick'em.
I take the Ravens. I'm not counting the Ravens out.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you.
I mean, the Ravens, when they played the Browns the first time, they absolutely destroyed them. And quite honestly, the Browns, I mean, that was a quality win, no doubt, against the Titans. Can't complain about that, but the Browns have not really had. I mean, that's really their best win of the season.
9-3. They're 9-3, Brad.
I know. They don't.
Baker Mayfield looks terrific. Nick Chubb looks terrific. Kareem Hunt looks terrific. That defense is playing really good. They're really solid on the offensive line. Jarvis Landry might be playing the best football of his career right now.
Their defense was playing well in the first half, and then they kind of took their foot off the gas in the second half.
Yeah, but I mean, Tennessee does have a good offense.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But they did I'll tell you what, they did a really good job on taking Derrick Henry out of the game yesterday. They did a terrific job doing that. Yeah, I don't know what Derrick Henry finished with, But I mean, I was watching a little of that game. I was watching a little bit of the first half, and I just noticed that every time Henry got the ball, they were all over him. I mean, there was no running room for Derrick Henry at all.
Yeah. So, in closing, Hurts or Wentz next week, Brad?
Hurts.
Hurts.
I think you got to start. I think you got to start seeing what you got. I think the Eagles have to be in the mode of playing for next year, and not getting on this thing where they think they can still win the division, because I think that's just too much to ask at this point.
Yeah, but maybe
I
think your only chance to beat a good team like the Saints is to catch lightning in a bottle with a spark plug like Hurts.
That's the whole point. That's why I'd like to see Hurts in the game.
Anyway,
I would like to see the Eagles stay close, because then when they have to play Washington towards the end of the season, they'll show up and they'll play hard.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't.
It's a mess here. It's a mess, Brad. It's a total mess in Philadelphia.
I didn't watch too much of your game yesterday. I was watching my game, and Giants
didn't miss.
Yeah, the Giants had their ugliness when they had that punt blocked. But you know what? I think that may have helped them, because when the ball went into the end zone and went out of the end zone for the safety, the fact that it wasn't a touchdown kind of was your first indication that maybe maybe things are going to go our way, because normally that would have been a touchdown.
All right, that'll do it. This edition of Sports Hounds. Thank you for everyone who commented, listened, liked the show, shared the show. Thanks to our great sponsors over there, Philly Drinkers, Specialized Physical Therapy with Dr. Paul Vidal, and also the Gutter and Roof guys at Ambuck Services. Shout out to Frank Vesby for producing the show. Does a great job for us each and every Monday. He's Brad Ryer. I'm Rob Brinkman. Until next week, peace out, everybody.